This segment brought to you by Kansas Farm Bureau, the voice of agriculture. To join today or more information, go to kfb.org or find us on Facebook and Twitter.
Welcome to Farm Factor. Up first today, Kyle and Carl Jarboe talk about wildfires and land management.
Hi, this is Kyle Bauer visiting with Carl Jarboe. He is with NRCS. He's a soil conservation technician. A few years ago, we had a huge fire down in Barber and Comanche County in Kansas. Took out lots of fences, burned off tons and tons of foliage. Since then, though, Carl, what has been the aftermath of that?
You know, really, Kyle, it's one of those things that we have a lot of benefits from that fire. We were able to control cedar trees that would not have been controlled in a prescribed fire, for example, because of the heat and the intensity. Because of all the cedar trees, that's why that fire was out of control.
I understand, though, after they burned, though, and I've been down through there, and there is a lot of dead trees still standing, but you have a program for that as well.
That's correct. Through NRCS, we have an Anderson Creek Wildfire Initiative where we cut dead standing trees. Fellows are able to come in, different ranchers come in and apply for cost share to help do that, where we can go in and cut those trees. They're either mulched or they're cut to be burned at a later date.
Why is it important to take those out?
You know, with those dead standing trees, of course, you're limiting access to livestock. Those things get pokey, Kyle. They get really hard on livestock. Also, birds will roost in those and drop more seeds. So we're going to have cedars right back in amongst those dead cedars.
Well, and certainly in that area, you couldn't take them out. As those little cedars come, there's maintenance that has to happen. And without taking out those, do you call them carcasses?
When they're down on the ground, they're a carcass. Yeah, once they're knocked over. And, the wind will do some of that as time goes on.
Is there any useful thing that those dead trees can be used for?
There is a contractor who comes in and cuts those trees and then runs them through a giant mulcher, and they bag that material for landscape mulch. So, yeah, there is a useful. They also sometimes use that cedar mulch in the oilfield industry.
After the fire, it was like almost a godsend. We got a huge snow, brought that grass on. It really looked to be a lot more promising after that, but there's got to be some adverse effects as well.
One of the things we've seen, Kyle, is that we have an awful lot of sumac coming back in. The chinaberry or soapberry trees are sprouting, and where you had a grove of 15, you now have a grove of 50 growing around those dead standing trees. So we do have some maintenance that has to follow up to get that range back in a good grazing situation.
I've heard after a burning at the wrong time of the year, you'll end up with a lot of weeds as well.
And that is one of those things when you have all that bare ground, it's opportunity for weed seed to germinate. And we've seen a lot of that, and many ranchers are very concerned about those weeds, as they call them. I always tell people they're a wildflower to nature enthusiasts. They're a weed to a rancher and a forb to a range manager. So depending on what they are, whether or not it's really important that we control them, it should be as we manage the grass better. A lot of those will take care of themselves.
Been visiting with Carl Jarboe. He's from Medicine Lodge, Kansas, talking rangeland management. This is Kyle Bauer reporting. Back to you, Jamie.
Thanks, Kyle. Folks, come back after these messages for this week's Kansas Soybean Update. Welcome.
The Kansas Wheat Innovation Center in Manhattan is rediscovering ways to get improved varieties and new genetics in the hands of farmers faster. Grower-led and checkoff-funded research initiatives are bringing about positive change. This grassroots leadership provides a strong voice in Topeka and Washington, D.C. Now is the time to partner with Kansas Wheat in moving wheat forward. Kansas Wheat Commission and Kansas Association of Wheat Growers. Farmers investing in their future and yours. Log on to rediscoverwheat.org.